quick intermission.
Alright, so we're at like what, 45 now?
Yeah.
Alright. Do another like.
So wait, let me see, but where are we at before? Just do a little quick.
So we just recapped Travis Walton.
Travis Walton, okay.
Unrogi. Yeah. Unrogi. Okay.
Right,
Number.
Go ahead.
7 of 9. 7 of 9 now. This is. So this is one of the bigger ones. I think everyone knows about this one. Bob Lazar. If you don't know about Bob Lazar,
Robert,
then you don't like NBA basket. If you don't know about Bob Lazar, I don't know what to tell you.
Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck your mother. Bob Lazar, I'm trying to pull up like the details on him. He was the guy that was the original whistleblower for Area 51.
Okay.
He worked at Los Alamos. Bob Lazar, could go back.
Red flag already, because if he doesn't work at Area 51, how does he blow up?
Did I say Los Alamos? Is that from GTA?
I have no idea.
No,
It does sound very
I think it's
fictional.
called Los Alamos research facility.
It sounds like a Breaking Bad location.
Yeah. So he was a physicist, like a rocket physicist or whatever, propulsion physicist or something like that. Basically, he was just like a super smart guy.
Naturally.
He put a jet engine in his car, like that kind of like an engineer. Like he was just like a genius engineer. Like
okay.
So it's back.
He's like the guy who put the fucking engine on the jet ski and like drives out to work every day.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. He was like, this is the 1980s. So this is the 1980s. So he's living out by Area 51, and some way or another, from his job, I believe it was Los Alamos was the name of the whatever. He was also at the MIT. He went to Caltech. Just a super smart guy. And the FBI seeks him out to or the CIA, whatever.
That's how it works for
to be like, hey, you should work for us.
Yeah.
You clearly got some good ideas. You got a great brain. Like we gotta, we can do something for you.
We can work with this.
So the reason that they brought him in, after seeing how good he was of an engineer, was to reverse engineer something. So when you reverse engineer something, it's when you take it apart and try to figure out how it works.
Yeah.
So let's say for the fucking first time ever, somehow someone just found that fan, and we had never seen a fan before.
Yeah.
And this guy was like, this guy's super smart. He knows how shit works. Take that thing apart and tell me how it works.
Yeah.
That way we can make it again.
Yeah.
So that's what reverse engineering is. He was brought in by the CIA to reverse engineer alien aircraft.
Okay.
Allegedly. That they had found in archaeological digs, at crash sites, things like that. So, the Los Alamos Mason Physics Facility is where he worked. Now, he goes and works at Area 51 at this place in Area 51 called, I think it was called S2. It was like S4. It was a subsidiary facility he claimed exists near the Nellis Air Force Base installation known as Area 51. Nellis.
Oh, okay. It's like, hold up.
Yeah. He claims that the said facility was adjacent to Papoose Lake, which is located south of the main Area 51 facility at Groom Lake. He claimed that the site consisted of concealed aircraft hangars built into a mountainside. Lazar said that his job was to help with the reverse engineering of one of the 9 flying saucers, which he alleged were extraterrestrial in origin. Claims one of the flying saucers he coined the sport model was manufactured out of a metallic substance similar in appearance in touch to liquid titanium. In a subsequent interview in that November, this was in 1989, Lazar appeared unmasked and under his own name for the first time, where he claimed that his job interview for work at the facility was contractor EG&G, and his employer was the United States Navy. EG&G stated it had no records of him. His supposed employment at Nellis Air Force Base subsidiary has also been discredited by skeptics, as well as by the United States Air Force. So, basically, he goes in, they said, we need you to reverse engineer these. He was on a team with a couple other guys as well. He starts taking them apart, and he said that they were small, you could crouch, walk around them, nothing too crazy, but he said that they would go and test them or whatever, and they're trying to figure out how the propulsion systems work. Yeah. So these things were hovering using some sort of anti-gravity, warping thing. He described it like if you put a bowling ball in the middle of a mattress, how like that force field would look around it or whatever.
Yeah. How the mattress is like pushed up.
Yes, exactly. That's how it was propelling itself. There was no afterburners, there was no heat, but somehow this thing was moving around. He watched them test them out and fly them around. He said it was like nothing that was of this earth to that point. So then, why, I don't remember exactly why he finally I think he was like, the people need to know about this. Like,
yeah, that's what I want to know. So why he ever, why he told
I could probably find why he eventually like came out.
Yeah.
But basically, once he came out and said all this stuff, they just discredited everything. Like, you know what? They wiped his education records. They wiped his employment records. But there's other people who have come out confidentially and stated like, I worked with Bob Lazar. He was absolutely there. Like blah blah blah.
Yeah.
He was at least here. He was at least there. And let's say I went to MIT with him. Like I have transcripts with his name on it as my professor or whatever. Yeah. Those exist. People that worked at Los Alamos with them, they were like, yes, he worked here. There's some sort of record of that somehow. I forget exactly how. So basically, they're like, okay, clearly he's being blackballed.
Obviously. And also, they didn't.
Which kind of further validates everything else he said.
Like, I didn't think about that. I feel like that's even more suspicious that you pretend he didn't even work for you, and people can verify that he was there.
Yeah. Lazar claimed that during his joining of the program, he read briefing documents describing the historical involvement of Earth for the past 10,000 years with extraterrestrial beings described as gray aliens from a planet orbiting the twin binary star system Zeta Reticuli. As of September 2019, no extrasolar planets have been found in the Zeta Reticuli system. 1989, Lazar said the seats of the saucers he saw were approximately child-sized and that he had seen alien cadavers of corresponding sizes. So he saw some dead ones in the facility. There was a claim too that he said he briefly walked by and looked to his right, and there was a room with two guys in there speaking to a very small object or whatever. He's like, but he also right away was like, I'm not saying that was an alien. I'm not even saying that thing was alive. They could have just been mimicking like sit and see or something. He was like, that was just weird. He said that while walking down the hallway at S4, he briefly glanced through a door window and saw what he interpreted as two men in lab coats facing down and talking to something small with long arms. 3 decades later, he said he did not think he saw an alien, but speculated that he saw a doll used as reference for the size of the alleged aliens, and the nickname that was used for them was the Kids.
Yeah. The weird thing is that I don't know how this would even. It could go either way, because like I feel like whenever shit like this comes out about the FBI and CIA getting like exposed, like that person just goes missing, or like they like shit like that happens. So it's weird that he came out and like his name is out there, and like people know who he is.
Right. So then he starts getting interviewed because he starts working for these guys, and he's like, "This is crazy, you guys." Like, so he starts telling his buddies, "He's gonna come see this shit." So he claims that him and his friends all the time would go on this one of his buddies' RVs, and they would go to the top of this hill and just watch the things fly around and like them test it and stuff like that. Okay. So I think they caught wind of that. The Air Force or the Navy, whoever he was working for, whatever, Area 51, they tapped all the phones in his house. They had done a bunch of shit. They uncovered that his wife was having an affair, told him about it, which he didn't know about, which uncovered that his phones were being tapped, and like he's like, how the hell would you know if I don't know? Blah blah blah. He was shot at multiple times, he says, by unmarked vehicles, things like that. Multiple attempts have been made on his life that he suspects was the government. The biggest thing is that he's never made a dime off any of this. He's never made money off of this.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm confused.
Never.
I mean, what would the money even be? Like
profit.
I mean, he's probably made like some like news appearances that day.
He's made. I think he's. Yeah, I'm sure maybe he's gotten paid for something like that as a compensation for his time or whatever. Yeah. But he's never like put out a branding or like merch or stuff like that. He doesn't even like talking about it. He says. In 2017, Lazar's workplace was raided by the FBI and the local police, which Lazar theorizes was to recover element 115, a substance he says he took from a government lab. Element 115 is what supposedly was used
to make the Nazi zombies in Call of Duty.
Right. Is what is used to do the anti-gravity propulsion. Okay, yeah. Like that's the element. There was records of this before he was there. He didn't coin it. He just knew about it and then stole some of it.
Well, I think there's theories about how to make technology that is like anti-gravity type of technology. It's just like the feasibility is just not there, but like the concept of it I think exists, so that would make sense that there would be like an element that exists that hasn't been discovered yet, that or allegedly hasn't been discovered yet, that could have that sort of impact. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think the theory is that I haven't done any research on it, but I think I've heard before, like the theory is that like if you have something that's lighter than air, that can like sort of almost like you said, make like that bowling ball sort of like
force field.
Yeah, like that's what would make it work, but the feasibility just like isn't there because we don't have the technology that exists to do that.
So it's really weird, and you can go back too, and you can look at any of his interviews. Like his story is the exact same to the fucking T every single time. Like, and he, like I said, he's never made any money off it. He's just doing this because he's like, the people should know about this. Like,
that's
so.
Crazy.
That's probably the most well-known one. There's a Netflix series, Bob Lazar, UFOs and Flying Saucers.
Like a documentary?
Yeah, Jeremy Corbell did it. He was pretty good. He was also on Rogan too. Really good episode. Crazy episode.
Wait, Bob was?
Huh?
Bob was?
Yeah. And he goes into like big detail about it.
Okay.
Crazy. Here's another good one. We're at 8 of 9 now. This is the Ruwa school incident. This was in, or the aerial school incident. It was in Ruwa, Zimbabwe. September 16th, 1994, there was a UFO sighting outside of Ruwa, Zimbabwe. 69 pupils at the aerial school, aged between 6 and 12, claimed they saw one or more silver craft descend from the sky and land on a field near their school. One or more creatures dressed in all black then approached the children and telepathically communicated to them a message with an environmental theme, frightening the children and causing them to cry. The 14 F-O-R-T-E-A-N, I don't know if that's like a company or something, writer, Jerome Clark was called the incident the most remarkable close encounter of the third kind of the 1990s. Skeptics have described the incident as one of mass hysteria. Not all the children at the school that day claimed that they saw something. Several of those did not maintain that their account of the incident is true. The background, also the incident. So the sighting occurred at 10 a.m. on September 16, 1994, when the pupils were outside on a mid-morning break. The adult faculty at the school were inside having a meeting at the time. The entire incident lasted about 15 minutes. When the children returned to class, they told their teachers what they had seen, but they were dismissed. When they returned home, they told their parents. Many of those parents came to the school the next day to discuss what had happened. The sighting was reported on ZBC radio, from where Cynthia Hind learned about it. The BBC correspondent in Zimbabwe, Tim Leach, visited the school on September 19th to film interviews with the pupil and staff. After investigating this incident, Leach claimed, "I could handle war zones, but I could not handle this." Hind visited the school on September 20th, 1994. She interviewed some of the children and asked them to draw pictures of what they had seen. She reported the children all told her the exact same story and drew the same pictures without knowing about one another's stories or pictures. That November, Harvard University professor of psychiatry John Mack visited the aerial school to interview witnesses. Throughout the 1990s, Mack has investigated UFO sightings and had particular interest in the alien abduction phenomenon. In May 1994, the dean of Harvard Medical School, Daniel C. Testosten, appointed a committee of peers to confidentially review Mack's clinical care and clinical investigation of the people who had shared their alien encounters with him. The issue was that Mack had communicated to these people that their experience may have been real. After 14 months, Harvard issued a statement stating that the dean had reaffirmed Dr. Mack's academic freedom to study what he wishes and state his opinions without impediment. So, like, this is like a school in Africa, and these two things just come down, and these things get out, talk to the kids, and leave. And all the kids told the same story.
And the teachers didn't see any of this?
They're having a meeting, apparently.
See, that's just weird, because, like, why would the children lie? B, I'm assuming they were essentially children, they're young kids, so they're not, like, teenagers, or, like, they're not, like, adults or teenagers, like, they're probably under, I don't know, probably, like, 8 to 12, whatever.
And oddly enough, well, yeah, sorry, what?
So it's like, why would they lie about it, or, like, how would they even have the capability of lying?
Like, why would they all tell the same story?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it'd be one thing if, like, a couple of kids were just joking around or something,
right.
But it's like, if they're all saying the same thing.
And if you remember back to the first story, or not the first story, but the Barney Hill incident, they're eerily similar in how the creatures looked and how the objects looked as well.
Yeah. Damn, that's so weird
Mm.
and creepy. I wonder if there's like a follow up with those kids at any point.
I believe so. I think there was like a while ago. Let's see. The Aerial School incident quickly became one of the most famous UFO cases in Africa on June 2021. Episode of BBC's Witnesses History. The event was described as one of the most significant events in UFO history. Excuse me. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything about like a follow-up report. But
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
sure.
regardless.
Oh, in 2014, the Mail and Guardian spoke to one witness who said that she fears that the creatures will return and that she can sense when they are back in the atmosphere.
Okay, so she might be a bit of a nut job, but
I don't know.
No, but interesting. Okay.
Well, how about this? In 2021, Barstool sports writer Za spoke in an interview about being a pupil in Ariel on that day. He recounted that he saw a bright light come down from the sky, and aliens exited. Other witnesses were interviewed for the 2021 documentary The Phenomenon and spoke about how the experiences affected them.
So this random guy just happened to work for Barstool that went to the school at the exact time this happened?
Yeah.
I'm gonna need to check his records on that one. I'm gonna need a source.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
I don't know. That seems like a pretty cool
It's
guy.
interesting. I thought it would
Okay. Last one. 2004, October 14th. This guy was also on Rogan. Commander David Fravor. So this is, if you've seen anything on UFOs in the last like 5 years, all the videos and stuff, it's more than likely you saw the video that was shot from the front of his F-14, I think it was. He was on November 14, 2004, fighter pilot Commander David Fravor of USS Nimitz Carrier Strike Group claims to have investigated radar indications of a possible target off the coast of Southern California. Fravor said the operator had told him that the USS Princeton, part of the strike group, had been tracking unusual aircraft for 2 weeks prior to the incident. The aircraft in question would appear at 80,000 feet before descending rapidly toward the sea and stopping around 20,000 feet in a matter of seconds and hovering there. Fravor reported that he saw an object, white and oval, hovering above an ocean disturbance. He estimated that the object was about 40 feet long. Fravor and another pilot, Alex Dietrich, said in an interview that a total of 4 people, 2 pilots and 2 WISOs, weapons systems officers, in the backseat of the 2 airplanes witnessed the objects for about 5 minutes. Fravor says that he spiraled down to get a closer look. The object ascended, mirroring the trajectory of his airplane until the object disappeared. A second wave of fighters, including pilot Lieutenant Commander Chad Underwood, took off in the Nimitz to investigate. Unlike Fravor, Underwood's fighters were equipped with advanced infrared camera, or FLIR. Underwood recorded the FLIR video and coined the description Tic Tac to describe the infrared image, but did not himself see any unusual object. So if you watch the Tic Tac video, it's like recently released by the government. It's like,
I'll have to look it up.
Whatever, like from
his plane.
Yeah, so
that's crazy because also if you're a fighter pilot, like you've probably seen everything there is to see in the air at that
right.
point.
It's also
there's really not much that goes on up there besides like birds and other planes.
Yeah, I think there's very few like what is that incidents.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That aren't either solved right away or like.
And I mean, I'm assuming this guy's not 20 years old. He's probably
he's pretty old.
A veteran at this point. Or
Yeah,
like,
he's a commander.
Yeah,
like,
so exactly. So it's like
I'll point you that.
He's probably seen many things and pretty much all there is to see out there.
Mm-hmm. During 2014 and 2015, fighter pilots associated with the USS Theodore Roosevelt Carrier Strike Group were operating off the east coast of the United States when they recorded a gimbal and go fast video while reporting instrument detections of unknown aerial objects which the pilots were unable to identify. So this happened back in 2004. This guy was on Rogan. It was a great episode too. The thing that stuck out for me about him was his like wicked calm demeanor, where he wasn't like, "You gotta see this shit." He was just like, "Yeah, I don't know. It just like was what it was."
So I don't know what to say about it.
Yeah. But also like if you're in fucking fighter jet airspace, you should probably know.
Where was this again?
This is off the coast of California.
So in the Pacific Ocean somewhere.
Yeah, but then subsequently in 2015, 2014, they saw the same objects off the East Coast. And then, so he was talking about this, and he was like, these things were reported, apparently, so he asked the Navy, he was like, do we have any idea what these are? And they were like, we've been seeing them for months, we have no idea what they are.
And so it was flying with him, then it went down to the ocean?
So it was up at 80,000 feet.
And then it went down.
And then they got on the radar, and they were like, alright, let's go check it out. So they get over there, all of a sudden they're like, it's at 20,000 feet.
Oh, so
It was
like,
just at 80,000 feet.
Yeah, so it wasn't actually on the ocean. I thought you were saying it was like floating on the ocean.
It was like pretty close at some points, he says, but it was at 80,000 to 20,000. They were like, what the fuck? And then it went down lower. And it was like enough that it was like making waves in the ocean or whatever. So then they were like, all right, let's take a look. They dive down and the thing just like just takes off.
Yeah, so see, I'm trying to think. The only reason I ask is because I'm like thinking like, all right, so maybe it's like a different country's like aircraft or something. And
that's what he was saying basically. He's like, we don't know. I'm not saying it's aliens, but he's like, what it is.
But I'm like, all right, so say it was like another country's thing, and they were trying to get intelligence. Like,
right.
There's other ways that they've done like. That's just like an inefficient way to like use an aircraft. Like,
right.
Like, so it's like if they were going for.
It was also hovering too. It wasn't moving.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like you wouldn't send a helicopter over the coast over the ocean to like to do like recon. Yeah, like you would. So it's obviously not like a helicopter. It had to be some sort of plane of some sort. And it's like if you were going to use a plane, you know you're going to either need permission or you're going to get shot down or something. Or like, you know what I mean? So it's like there's going to be some sort of defense. So it's like you're going to be prepared for that. So that's just so weird. It's like, how do you even like what do you even I don't even know what you would say or like how you could explain that.
Yeah, it's wicked weird. He also said like what's it called? They were actively jamming their radars too, which is technically an act of war if you actively jam a radar. So he was like, alright, so if this is a fucking enemy aircraft, one, it's a fighter pilot.
What was this 2004 you said?
This is 2004.
So it's like
So it's like you would know. They also don't just let people fly fucking fighter jets. You know what I'm saying? So
that's
it's
what I'm saying.
Like
another
you
country
would know the rules.
Yeah, exactly. Another
rules.
country would know what's going on here, and
you can't just be fucking around.
The civilian doesn't have access to this sort of
thing,
especially over the Pacific Ocean. It's not like they were.
Right.
That's why I was asking because it's like if it was over like I don't know, like Gulf of Mexico or like just somewhere like close where it's like there's other countries that are nearby this specific body of water.
Right.
It's possible that like. I don't know. That just doesn't make sense. That's why it's like I don't understand. Like, and especially like you said, since he's a commander, he's probably seen like everything at this point.
Yeah.
So he can't explain it. It's like
and he was like he said, he was just kind of like I don't know what it is. I have to report it. Like he's like, I was sent out to do this. I checked it out. I don't know what it is, and that's what I'm putting it in. Is like a UFO.
And so I'm assuming it dropped down, and then when it took off, that was it.
Yeah.
So it's not even.
No, then they kept popping up like.
No, I know
consistently.
But they didn't like throughout the years. You're saying, or
we've seen it like since then. They've seen it all the time. They have no idea what they are.
So it's like that doesn't make what else could that even be? It's
I don't know.
I don't understand.
The biggest thing too is to realize that this was just a UFO. Like they never said anything on aliens or anything. He's like, I just don't like.
It is by definition a UFO.
By definition, it's a UFO, but also forget the whole alien thing. Like he's like, it's insane. It's technology that we are not privy to. Like this does not exist.
That's
as far as we know, this doesn't exist, and we're watching it happen.
So would a country risk using that to fucking do recon
intelligence?
Like,
no.
Yeah, obviously not. Because you wouldn't want to give that technology to the enemy or whatever. So it's like that's just it's so strange. So it's like I wonder. Yeah, I can't even. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. And then that type of thing is like, all right. So even if it wasn't aliens, A, where did it come from if it wasn't like a sort of
what is it
alien thing? Yeah, what is it? But B, it's like if it is it's like extraterrestrial or aliens, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Like, I mean, I can just validate everything else we've said before. It's like if they exist now, why couldn't they exist in 1500 BC or whatever it was?
Right. It's insane.
That's crazy to think about.
Yeah, that wraps it up.
Well, we have some. So you have a couple articles that we were going throughout the thing. So if you want to send me those, I'll put them in the description of the video, so you can click through and kind of re-up if you want to see more about like whatever specific incident you heard and you want to do more research on it. But yeah, man, that's crazy. Yeah, that's and especially nowadays. I mean, with the what's it called? Like the government like releasing the info on all that shit now. Like, it's interesting to see what will come from
they're like acknowledging, they're like, there's some shit out there we don't know about.
Like, it's like, where does that shit come from?
I don't know.
Again, if it was another country, you would know because it's like, the world technology is as advanced in the U.S. as anywhere else. It seems anyways. I mean, I could be wrong, I guess, but
the world is a vampire.
But it's like if there was another country with even more advanced technology, why would they be wasting it in like a non-war effort or like a, you know what I mean? Like they wouldn't be risking giving that technology to other countries.
Or letting them know.
For no reason. Like, you know what I mean? Like, say, like, I mean, just because we're fucking on the brink of Chinese fucking takeover, it's like, imagine if the Chinese had access to this sort of technology, like, they wouldn't be flexing it. Like, we would not know it existed if it was in the hands of another country specifically, because it's like, that's a leg up that you have on other countries.
Yeah.
So you would use that more tactically, I would think, than just doing flyovers in international waters. So yeah, that's some crazy shit to think about. And like you said, I mean, everyone knows the rules of war, so it's like if you're gonna do shit like jamming radars, and if that's actually illegal in like war or whatever, an active war, then it's like, why would you do that then? Like, you wouldn't, obviously, because you mentioned so that's crazy shit to think about. But anyways,
crazy shit.
Yeah, so this will be the format going forward, at least for now. Like I said, last episode got a little mixed up, but we're back, so it's fine. It doesn't matter. We keep pushing. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So we'll see you next week with a new topic.